Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, we're going to be telling you about why we love Disney and also getting some feedback from some of our listeners on why they love Disney. So we'll be sharing some of the comments that we've got and talking about all the things that keep bringing us back, because we know there's a lot of different places in the world you can go for the amount of money a Disney trip will put you back. So why are you choosing that? So we'll go through with the Duck crew and talk about some of the feedback we got on this and give you guys a little bit of insight into our beautiful minds of why we choose Disney as our family's vacation destinations. But before we get to that, let's talk about something not Disney related. By the time this comes out, it's going to be towards the end of August. We're getting ready for fall. College football starting. So just an amazing time of year, especially up here in the north. We start having, leaves change colors and it's beautiful. So I guess I wanted to ask you guys, what are you most looking forward to for the fall season? Jody, you want to tell us what you're looking forward to?
The Buckeyes killing your team. Other than that, I am looking forward to all things fall, leaves, cooler temperatures, and all things pumpkin. But like pumpkin pancakes and pumpkin bread and all those pumpkin-y things, because fall's my jam, my favorite time of year, hands down. Little hoodie in the evening, crisp, cool air. It's perfect. Can't wait.
All right, it is. And, you're probably going to be disappointed in waiting a while for that Buckeye win in against the Wolverines this year, but that's fine. You should be used to losing now after last season.
Oh, ouch,
all right,
fired.
So Carly, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
Well, everybody knows I'm a teacher, so fall always means the start of a new school year, and obviously as a teacher that means I am most excited for Thanksgiving break. I'll just be honest. The beginning of the school year is always super stressful, and if I make it to actually, we have vacation. Disney coming up in November. So if I make it to my Disney trip in November, then the rest of the year just kind of flies by and it's way less stressful.
And Thanksgiving break always is fun. It's nice because everybody has it off, so you don't have to worry about coming back to a bunch of tasks and everything. It's a nice long weekend. Yes. And that's when Wolverines will beat the Buckeyes. Jeff, what about you?
As much as the delusional fantasy world that you're living in, I like college football season. I can't wait till Saturdays come around. I do like the cooler weather. My biggest thing for fall is it's the only time of year that you have the ability to buy Frankenberry, Boo Berry, and Count Chocula cereal. So nice. I stock up every year. I still have a box and a half left from last year that we're finishing out. So
right, we did just open a box of Boo Berry the other night.
Yep. So I got a box and a half. I got one box of Frankenberry, half a box of Boo Berry left. And then that'll finish me out, and I can buy my new boxes here. This probably in about a couple weeks.
You stock up in the fall?
I do.
Okay, so that's left. It hasn't expired yet?
No.
I mean, it does say Best Buy like 4 months ago, but
the bags aren't open yet. They're fine. The Count Chocula have been there a little too long opened, and the marshmallows got a little squishy, but the fresh ones that we just opened, we're good to go.
And it's Best Buy. I mean, sure, it might be 99% instead of 100. It's still
okay.
It's still delicious, yeah.
Right. It's more of a guideline than a rule.
True. All right. Okay, Gene, what about you? What are you looking forward to with the fall coming up?
Hey, cooler weather, because by like October, November, maybe December, depends on how hot it is, it might cool off finally in Louisiana. Football season, we actually have real football in Louisiana. We have SEC football and LSU football, obviously, as you know. So you guys aren't familiar with that, but real, hard-nosed football. Hunting season, awesome. I got a list, man. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. That's not going to be in the fall. That's going to be in the winter. But Dak Prescott will be the league MVP and probably the Super Bowl MVP too. So I'm looking forward to all those things. And then, of course, volleyball season, high school volleyball season for my daughter. So it's going to be, it's going to be awesome. I love it.
I know nothing about sports ball, but you said something about Dallas Cowboys, and then Lonnie started laughing like a hyena in the background. So I don't know. There's apparently something happening there.
You have a good running back down there at Dallas, don't you? If you win a Super Bowl,
We have a couple, actually.
Where'd the one go to school at? If you're going to win the Super Bowl, where'd he go to school?
Oh, Ohio State, no doubt.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, Kevin, what do you got coming up in the fall that you're excited about?
Well, the kids are back in school, of course, and just looking forward to the cooler weather, trying to get the runs in for getting ready for Dopey. I know the mileage will get longer, but the weather won't be hopefully as bad. You can't ever tell around here. It'll sometimes be 90 in November. So, but looking forward to that cooler weather, maybe do some camping, do some fishing with the kids when it's not so hot, and just enjoy being outside instead of surviving outside. So
surviving outside. No doubt.
Yeah, that's true. It's been so, even up here, it's been so hot lately. Lonnie, what about you?
Well, fall is my time of the year as well. Cooler temperatures, right? So I take my runs outside. Football. Usually in the fall, I have conversations with Gene usually we talk every day, but on Sundays, it's multiple times as I'm talking him off the edge when the Cowboys lose once again. I always tell him if he wants to see a Super Bowl, I have an old VHS player up in the attic. I'll bring it down so you can look at the last Super Bowl that the Cowboys actually was in. So that's usually what I do in the fall. But, hey, we always go into this year, with, high expectations for Gene. And unfortunately, it's, but I will say I'm a Saints fan, and the Saints do have a receiver that went to.
They have two of them.
You
got two of them now.
Exactly. So there you go.
Just a reminder, the Saints have won one Super Bowl, and it was 2009. So not 25 years ago like the Cowboys, but still just one. Just one, Lonnie.
I think we used to have a football team in Cleveland.
No, I don't think so.
They were stolen. Oh, man. Well, a lot of you guys mentioned, honestly, fall is probably my favorite season. I love it. I love the bonfires. I love the wearing a hoodie outside. I like the crisp weather. I like the running weather is just perfect. The colors, everything. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to football season. As a big Michigan fan, it's always exciting, especially now that we're coming off an awesome season. The Lions, they're gonna win 2 games, and I'll be excited about those 2 games. But just everything weather-wise is awesome, and all the events. We have a lot of cider mills and stuff by our house, so we go do apple picking, and we'll get apple cider, and the kids get donuts and all that kind of stuff. So that's really fun. Is we head north about a half hour and get to go out and do hay rides and all that kind of fun stuff. So just such a fun season. There's something to do for literally any hobby or anything you like to do. You can find something. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the cooler weather though too, because that'll be a nice reprieve from all this 90 some degree weather that we've been dealing with in the humidity. It's just but football is probably the thing I'm most looking forward to because I just love it. All right, well, now that we've talked about a little bit of fun non-Disney stuff, let's get into talking about Disney, which is our favorite topic and why we're all here. So tonight, I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about why we love Disney. And we got some good comments from some of our listeners too. So we're going to read through those, and then we'll give you our reasons why too. And you can get to know a little bit more about us. Andrea Gartland gave us a response. She said, I love visiting Disney because it allows me to take a break from reality and spend quality times with those I love. Living within 100 miles of the world has given me opportunities to visit since I was a kid in the 70s. I keep going back to have fun while reminiscing and also enjoying new experiences. So that's awesome, especially living that close to Disney World. That's got to be great to be able to make those short trips or like a quick weekend trip where I think the rest of us might have a little bit more trouble with that, given, having to get on a plane and everything else. So that's awesome that Andrea's been able to do that. And it sounds like she's passing her love of Disney on to her kids and everything too, onto her family. So that's awesome. And to be honest, my why with Disney really kind of started with food allergies and just how well they handle it. Looking back, my daughter was diagnosed with celiac disease at 4 years old. And when we looked at places it was safe to travel, Disney just kept coming up on the list. And it wasn't one of those places I wanted to go, right? It's expensive. It's kind of kitschy and touristy and everything else. And so we're like, all right, well, you have to do, it's like obligatory, right? A rite of passage as a parent is taking your kids to Disney. So we packed everybody up, went down there, and just loved it, right? And then we ended up coming back a few times, and each time we went, I just loved it more and more. We got to eat at restaurants, and we didn't have to worry about the food being safe. But then beyond that, once you get past that, there's so many other things that kept pulling us in. Like I started getting really involved in the Disney history and reading books about Walt and how he wanted the park designed and how his influences kind of came in. And then you start to learn about, all the movies and how they brought some of the IP stuff in. And the tie-in between those things that I loved growing up, like The Little Mermaid and Lion King and all this stuff. And then you go and you see Little Mermaid themed rooms, and you have Lion King themed rooms, and just the rides. And, you go to Animal Kingdom and you get to see giraffes 5 feet from your Jeep. It's just really awesome. And it's really, I think, grown on me a lot too, in terms of like, even now I listen to background music, Disney parks music, right? And you hear like Sorcerer Radio or something like that, where it just plays those loops that go on. And I know if I'm in a bad mood, I listen to the Soarin' soundtrack, and it takes me back to riding that ride and being in Epcot, where they have so much going on there. You can visit all the different countries and learn different customs and things like that from the people. It's just our family has really, I think, found it to be a place that we can all have fun. Me and Katie, there's stuff for us to do there. The kids obviously love it. There's all kind of fun rides. And there's everything from, rides for a baby or like a toddler, all the way up to, exhilarating, like coaster type rides, right? With some of the rides they have over there now with the roller coasters and Rock and Roller Coaster and Slinky Dog and all those. So I think my why is maybe a little more complicated, but it's really around just spending time with the family and those memories and pictures of the kids giggling and looking at fireworks and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, honestly, the Lapu Lapu being at the Polynesian doesn't hurt the pull of me towards Disney. It's probably my favorite food or beverage in the world. And how often do you get to walk around with a giant pineapple filled with rum? It's pretty much perfect. So that's my why. And our listener Stacy has also given us a response. She says that this has been a family love for us since our first visit in 1972. As a native Floridian, many holidays and life events centered around Disney. My parents loved it and passed it down to me and down to my kids. There is no feeling like the feeling of being immersed in a world of happiness and hope. And I think Stacy's got a good point there with being in the Disney bubble. Once you get through Orlando and onto Disney property, it's like you're in a whole different world, or as Aladdin would say, a whole new world. And you have people to really take care of everything you need. Their guest services are awesome. Those cast members will really help you out however possible. And you just don't have to worry about anything, which is one of the best things about Disney. I love being in that bubble. All right, so I've gone on.
Amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
It's amazing to me how many people mention those same, almost exact same words: immersed, Disney bubble. So it's not something that obviously goes missed by a whole lot of people. We all really appreciate that about Disney.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things they've done a great job of cultivating over the years, right? Is building that up and making sure that people feel that way when they're there. It definitely makes us want to go there more so than a lot of other places, because you're on your own. A lot of places you're just in a town and you have to find places to eat and things to do. Disney, you don't have to worry about any of that because it's all around you and it can be scheduled for you and everything else. So it's great. All right. So Lonnie, how about you? You want to give us some more feedback from some of the listeners and then tell us about why you really like going to Disney?
Sure. I want to talk about Jeremy, one of our founding members, and his comments on Disney. He put, what got me hooked and keeps me coming back is that feeling of being in the Disney bubble. In my home, we call it in the arms of the mouse. It's part of the reason I'm sad that Magical Express went away. We fly in from very far away. It was always nice to arrive and already have our bags taken care of and a friendly person with white gloves waiting for us. We were instantly in the bubble from that point until we got back. There's a relaxation level that takes place like no other when you know it's all going to be okay because you are in the bubble, aka the arms of the mouse. And Jeremy, I agree with you wholeheartedly with those comments. You're right. When Magical Express went away, it's kind of like it was an oomph to you, right? Because as soon as you landed at the Orlando airport, you knew they had your bags. And when you got on the Magical Express and the TV was playing some Disney cartoons, you already felt that you were there. So I miss it as well. And, it made me kind of think about the reason why I love Disney, because my love of Disney actually started later. I didn't go to Disney as a kid. In fact, my first Disney trip, I was an adult. I think my son was 7, my daughter was 4. And we just chased characters the whole time, right? We had a travel agent, and they made this. We didn't know where we were staying. We didn't do any research. We just knew we want the kids to experience Disney because my wife and I hadn't experienced Disney growing up, right? So we went, and it was, I think I told the story, it was freezing, and we ended up having to buy a suitcase and a bunch of clothes because it was so cold, and bought all that stuff back home. And then we didn't go again for another 2 or 3 years. But I think that's when the seed started to sprout, right? Did a little bit more research this time before we went, started to, look for attractions and foods and things of that nature. We went to the Flower and Garden Festival. It was the first time we actually went that actually knew what we were doing. And from that point, it just became something that the more I went, the more I got immersed in the culture of Disney, right? Doing more research, looking into the engineering behind it, and being in that bubble, right? Because I've stayed off-site and on-site, and there's definitely a difference in my mind of staying on-site. Now, some people like off-site, and I'm okay with that as well. But once you get there, right, just the restaurants you can go to, the people watching, the things that you can see, it's just different. And the thing that really put the icing on the cake for me is my wife and I and my daughter, we went. I think my son was off in school, and we were at a restaurant. Actually, we were in Disney Springs I can't remember what restaurant we were at, but my daughter asked, could she go back into the park by herself? Now, she's still in high school, and we're like, but she really wanted to do it. So we brought her over to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and we dropped her off, and we let her get on there, and she took the monorail to the park. She rode a bunch of rides, and we were calling her, you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm over. I'm doing this. And she was texting, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that was her first actual outing by herself. Right. And she, and we said we were going to go grab a couple of drinks and relax. Well, we couldn't relax. We sat right there in the parking lot at the TTC waiting for her to come back. So we want to make sure she's okay. And she came back like, 2.5 hours later. And she's like, she had the best time ever. And that's when I was like, you know what, this is it. This is it for us. And from that point on, it's just been more and more Disney vacations and getting more and more in love with the mouse. And it's been ever since. Now, DVC, we took it to the next level. And now we're in the cruise line. And you kind of get more into that ecosystem. And once you're in there, right? So that's why we love Disney.
And Lonnie, that's awesome. I mean, I think a lot of us have a similar story like that. Like, I'm the same way. I didn't go as a kid and then discovered it with my kids, and it's been awesome. But you made a point about like looking into the engineering and stuff, right? And seeing how the Imagineers come up with rides and how they develop everything. That is a really cool thing that I'm glad Disney now is kind of jumping more on board. 'Cause you used to have to get books from like Marty Sklar and guys that were part of Imagineering, and now with Disney Plus having the show about it, it's really cool getting to see that behind the scenes stuff. And it just, again, they know what they're doing. They're pulling you in, right? They're giving more information and letting you kind of see behind the scenes. It's just really fun. I think that was a really good point you brought up.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing, John, which is really cool now, is having an opportunity to bring, like say, I didn't go as a kid, but now we bring my grandson. His first trip and cruise was in May. Right. And we're already planning for next year when we bring him back. Right. So seeing it through his eyes and giving him the experience that we didn't have growing up, that hopefully it is a love for him as well. Right. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's so fun. And then you get to take the multi-generational trips and all that kind of stuff and just really get to have that bonding time with your grandkids. It has to be so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It is.
All right. So let's go to Kevin. Let's hear from you about, what you really love about Disney, what keeps you coming back, and have you give us some feedback from some of the listeners.
Okay. I'll start with the listener, Tyler. He left a comment, said, I think for me, more than anything is the Disney Vacation Club. I'll be honest, if we didn't have that feeling of not having to worry about the lodging, then the parks would be much harder to almost impossible to justify the cost. He likes the ability to stay and enjoy the ambiance of the different resorts too. And so I'm not a vacation club member like some of you all, but I can appreciate that being in the bubble, like other people have said. It's really a different feeling. Most of my experience has been staying offsite, unless it's a race weekend, because we have family down there about 5 minutes away from the park. So it's kind of hard to justify that for us right now. But I totally get that feeling. When you're at the resort, you're right in the middle of everything, and you don't have to worry about getting there or getting around or anything like that. So a lot like Lonnie as a kid, I went one time, and that was when I was 9. So growing up, it was, okay, guys, we get to make our one trip to Disney. We're going to wait till you are able to remember it. And that's our only time we ever get to go. So we went and we ran and ran and ran. So that's what started me going was, a love for the cartoons and the movies and that kind of thing. And then the innovation that, I'd heard about and read about and that kind of thing. That's what got me started. But once I got into it and a little bit older, started taking my time at Disney, that's when I really started enjoying it. So going there and seeing something and really trying to take it in, looking at the detail, that's something that they do very, very well, is especially with some of the newer attractions, is just the attention to detail is just nobody else does that. Just really immersive and that kind of thing. And, the cast members, I mean, no other place has employees that you would refer to as a cast member, really, where it's every part of the existence of the park and the people that run it. I mean, it ties you into all of it. So it's being immersive. I think that's the big thing. Of course, the food and, the Disney magic and all that. I love going there for Christmas. That's my favorite time. I really miss when they had the Osborne lights. That was one of my favorite things to walk through. That was just unbelievable, just seeing all the lights and everything at Hollywood Studios. And, as I've now have 2 boys, kind of watching them grow up through Disney, able to take them a whole lot more than I did as a kid. And just seeing, like, I think Lonnie mentioned how you can see Disney through the kids' eyes. That, to me, that's like the whole reason for me to go back alone, with not to mention everything else, but just watching their excitement when they see their favorite character, or, ride on the ride, and just a ride that they may think is a little too scary. Then you get them on there, and then they come off and they want to ride it again 10 more times. So, I mean, that's Disney, the food, the excitement, the fireworks, everything.
And it's
now the Falcon.
I was going to say, it's got to speak to your Star Wars nerd and also to your engineering brain.
So the engineering side, Figment being, of course, my favorite, back behind me here. He's my favorite. But, once they got Marvel and Star Wars, I mean, like, what else can they get? They brought in everything that drives me. Every franchise that I can imagine, they've already now have. If they get Transformers, then that'll be a level that I can imagine.
Awesome. All right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Gene, what about you? What is your Disney love, or what drives your Disney love?
South America Pavilion.
Well, South America, there's this opportunity to just go to different festivals. Especially, I love the International Flower, Food, and Butterfly Festival that I seem to be able to make, a couple times a year at times. So that's pretty special. In all reality, you guys obviously know I am not the kind of Disney fan that you guys are. I have you might call it a love. Maybe compared to you guys, it's just maybe I'm just in I don't know. But I don't have a DVC. I never went until I went one time for like a day on a high school, church trip. We were going through Florida, And Carly, I think, said that doesn't count. And I just went to Magic Kingdom. I think you did, Carly. But I took my son, my wife, and my mother-in-law went for a really short trip. And then we took our family back for a longer trip, and then surprised my kids when we had my daughter. And so I have these great memories from then. And then now it's turned into cheer. We've gone 4 times for cheer competitions, and my daughter loves it. And similar, like Lonnie was saying, I haven't let her loose off on her own. I've let her loose with groups of people with a parent, but she loves it, and just the memories. But for me personally, there's a lot of nostalgia as well because of growing up watching The Wonderful World of Disney and the Disney movies. And I'll be honest with you, John, I don't turn on, maybe I should. Right before we went this last time, I did turn on some Disney music at some point to try to get everybody, jazzed up about Disney. But I don't listen to podcasts every week because I don't go as often as you guys. I don't turn on Disney music, but when I go, I love being immersed in it. As a person in sales and there being a customer service aspect of sales, Disney is different. They do things differently. Those cast members that you guys were talking about, they keep backstage. You don't hear about Cinderella, and a problem with her boyfriend, like you might at McDonald's or wherever. There's several things like that people have an emotional connection to, and it's because the way those things make them feel. And Disney's one of those, and it does it for me too. We had a situation where our magic bands weren't working, and they gave us, I don't know, probably 50, maybe more dollars worth of food that just wasn't scanning. And they're just take it. Okay, sure. Yeah. Make sure nobody's looking, but we kept going. Really, it wasn't like that, but they were just like, look, we'll get it squared away. Go ahead and take the food and then, check in with the desk. And at some point they put money on several different magic bands and brought us into the gift shop to make sure that it worked. And so, I mean, we spent a lot of money, to go, but they probably, somewhere upwards of, $100 more, maybe $200 that they spent on food they gave us and the credits on the magic band just to make sure everything was working right. And that's just special. And I go for races, and Lonnie, I say he twisted my arm. It wasn't that difficult to talk me into it, but it's fun. I get to interact with you guys. So many positive things. Again, I don't even approach the level that you guys are as far as fans, but I do have a love for it. I don't Figment. Yeah. I've not seen Figment except behind Kevin, and I apologize for that. It's embarrassing. It really is. But man, I love the Millennium Falcon though. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
I know you do. And I'm looking forward to Marvel being more integrated as well too, because I'm a Marvel fan too.
Definitely.
We also had another comment from Cindy I wanted to share with you guys. She says, it's something happy for lots of people, so it just makes me happy seeing people having the best day of their life. Generations traveling together and having magical times together. I visit with my daughter, and it's fun being together, but also the shows are amazing. Food is great, lots of things to see and do. Walt envisioned a place for families, and Disney is just that, whether at the parks, on a cruise, or enjoying a movie. And I can identify and agree with all of that, except maybe it's not always the best day of their life. Sometimes you see little kids having a meltdown, and the parents are thinking, this is not the best day of my life. But apart from that, 100%.
And it's funny reading Cindy's comment. I think she really does feel that seeing people having that great day makes her happy, because knowing her, she's just such a great person overall. And I could totally see her just sitting on the bench watching people and seeing little kids have fun and just loving it every minute of it. So
we got to watch Epcot Forever with Cindy last July. And we were standing over beside China, I think, just watching the fireworks. And she's just sitting there watching little kids in front of her singing and clapping and smiling and everything. Just you could just tell that that's what brings her joy, is watching the kids and watching the people. Yeah. So,
yeah, and it is too. But Gene, it's funny how you mentioned when families are melting down and stuff, the first time we went, you see parents like getting upset and yelling at their kids and stuff. And then, you know, you go 10 other times or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, no, I get it now. You know, having a lot of kids, sometimes you will lose your patience at Disney. And everybody has that rough time, right? But the beauty of it is you have all that stuff around you to bring you out of that. So hopefully, you know,
Lonnie says, pack your patience.
Yeah.
I don't know how this last trip, I don't know how many times I said it. Hey, family. Lonnie said, pack your patience.
That's our motto every day now after that.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, you need it, right? It's hot. People are waiting in lines, but
and before you swing on somebody, just say, hey, unpack your patience. You need it now. Unpack it. Put it on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right. So Jeff, how about you? What you want to read something from one of our many fans,
Sure.
or do you want to give us your take?
So Rick says when Liam, that's their son, was younger, he had selective mutism and he refused to talk at school from 4 years old to 7 years old. They took their family to Disney in 2017, and he had an absolutely magical moment with a cast member who got him to have a sword fight with him. And Disney really helped him to get through this problem. So I think that's just how they interact with people is just fantastic. You see videos all the time. Somebody might walk up that's deaf, and then you have a princess signing to them. There's all kinds of stuff like that. It's just, they're phenomenal. So I'm glad that I got to go before Carly for mine, though, because then I can say everything I want. Then
She's been looking over my shoulder, sealing my nose the whole darn time.
So we'll see how much she scrambles to get something after for us. But
well, and I did want to make a comment. I wanted to make a comment about Rick's comment with the cast member working with his son. We went right after we had lost one of our dogs. It was maybe a month after we had to put our dog down, and Prince Eric came over. We were at the place on the boardwalk, Trattoria El Forno, and so they had Prince Eric and Ariel. Prince Eric comes over and Caleb starts telling him about how he lost his dog, and the cast member just like got down on one knee and like started talking to Caleb, telling him about how much he loves his dog. You know, Eric had the dog in the movie, and it was just like the best 2 minutes because he just totally cheered Caleb up, helped him get through, you know, it's rough for a kid, right? Well, it was rough for me as an adult, but it was just awesome to see him like care so much. Like you could tell the guy actually cared and wanted him to be happy. So it's just so awesome how they can do that. All right. Sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Maybe I did.
You guys, a lot of you have touched on a lot of stuff. I went to Disney for the first time when I was about 5. I remember bits and pieces of it vaguely, but not much detail. And then our first real trip to Disney as a family was in 2008. Riley was about 1.5 years old. And what keeps me going back is every time we go, it's always different with her. The trips, there's different interests that we have. There's different places we stayed. We always do something new that we've never done before. And it's just people go to the beach or they go to wherever, and that's just their family trips they do, and that's what they've done, and that's fine. I don't like sand, so I don't like the beach. I'd rather go do something like this. So it's always something different for us. The memories are always there, and we always find something new that we can do as a family and explore. So I guess that's what keeps me going back. So I didn't take too many of yours. I looked up.
You did. You kind of stole some stuff.
The look on Carly's face would say otherwise.
Right.
But, all right. Well, thanks, Jeff. And hopefully Carly can come up with some fresh ideas here in a minute and not just reuse what Jeff said. But Jody, let's go to you and you can tell us about a couple of the listeners and then give us your family story or your story about why you love Disney.
Sure. So Chris started off by saying, I have very few childhood memories of the parks. We only went once when I was 12, and we did a half day at Magic Kingdom and a half day at Epcot. And those were the only 2 parks at that time. I didn't come back until 2016 as a 40-something-year-old man, and I was blown away. The attention to detail, the immersion, that feeling of being transported to another place and another time. It is indescribable. I realize that Disney is not for everyone, but for me, the atmosphere, service, ambiance, and intentionally of culture is unmatched. It truly is my happy place. And I think that sums it up. So for me and our family, a lot of people here in Cincinnati area, go to Hilton Head every summer. That's the cars go directly down to Hilton Head or to Destin, which I know, Gene, you were just there. That's kind of the vacations that most people in our area take. And I, like you, Jeff, am not a beach lover. It's fine, but I get bored very easily. There's only so much hot sand, water, salt water I can take. So for me, the reason why I love Disney and the reason why our family loves Disney is one word: memory. Every single trip, we build a new core memory to kind of talk about Inside Out a little bit. And then on every trip, we'll talk about some of those past memories and we'll bring it up and say, remember when you dropped your ice cream bar there? Or remember when somebody was having a fit right over there? Or remember when you rode that ride the first time and you held on so tight, you were scared to death. And now you're like heads above the bars. So it's the walk down memory lane and the building of that family time where we really are just together and having a great time. And then also, selfishly, my husband and I have had some really fantastic trips as couples there, race weekends or whatever too. So for us, it's memory. It's all those wonderful things that we get to look back at and then relive every trip. And like Jeff said, also try new things every trip too. We tried some new things this trip that were pretty incredible and pretty epic, and that we'll talk about the next time we're there as the memory of the past time. So that's our why. It just makes me happy. We had another listener, Becca, who said, it's the history and the vision that brought me to love Disney. The rides are fun, but the energy, the vision that Walt had for the foundation is my hook. Progress, innovation, and his tenacity to plow through adversity. And wow, she just hit it right. I mean,
yeah,
that's just Walt's vision of what the parks could be and what they've turned out to be is pretty incredible. And I'm going to let somebody else talk while I cough. So
yes, well, I think she said it really well, because I mean, even the smallest details that they create are just incredible. Like not being able to see the castle until you're past the gates and you hit Main Street. I mean, just that was one of his like major things that he wanted. And it's that wow factor, and you get it every time. Every time I turn on Main Street and I see the castle, I get goosebumps and giddy, and I feel like I should skip down the road or something. So
can we just have a moment, as all of us as runners have all run up and through the castle for a race? How many of you just get the feels when that happens on every race?
I bawled.
Even me.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Even like not running, I get like that, and my daughter will look at me like, "You're gonna cry, Daddy?" I'm like, but no, running. I mean, running, it was just like the greatest experience ever. I don't know. It was just amazing.
For me, this Tinkerbell, when Tinkerbell flew during not Wishes, that's like 3 shows ago. Happily Ever After. What's it called now? Enchantment, right? Enchantment. When I was a mess. Like I just remember when they were little, and anyway, yeah. So that's
the fireworks shows the fireworks shows are so awesome. I should have mentioned that earlier in mine. It's just that's one of the things that I love more than almost anything else in the world is watching a Disney fireworks show. They're just the way they intertwine the music and the visuals. It just everything is so awesome.
We splurged we splurged for our very last night in the parks. We did Magic Kingdom the very last day, and the very last night we splurged and didn't tell the kids, and we surprised them with the dessert party, which the desserts are mediocre, but the place where you get to view the actual fireworks was we just sat there all kind of like snuggle hugging each other, watching that show and not being touched by other humans because we had our own private space was beyond glorious. And it was a super special moment.
You talk about core memories from dessert parties. That's one of mine. We went to the dessert party. Riley was probably 2 or 3, and they had the little chocolate swirlies on top of a cupcake. And that's all she wanted was just those. So she'd get a snack and she'd eat that on top, and then I'm eating all the leftover stuff. And one of the cast members just saw her picking those off of dessert, and brought her a whole cup of just the
I
toppings.
mean, a huge cup.
Like a solo cup full of
It was
those.
Nice.
ridiculous.
And she was thrilled.
I love
OD
that.
on chocolate
For the next
swirlies.
17 and a half hours.
Right.
but,
That was a
you know,
lot of
it's
chocolate for a
fine.
3-year-old, but
Jeff was eating a
But
Muppet
hey-
top. He's like, just the top.
Nobody wants the bottom part of a muffin. Come on.
We're
right?
gonna do it all. We're gonna do all these bottoms. What's up?
Always love a Seinfeld reference.
You cut it in
Always.
half and you flip it over and you eat it like a sandwich with the icing in the middle. I saw somebody do that the other day. It's changed my life.
Yes.
My favorite. Love it.
That's a good life tip.
Mhm.
Wow. Our listeners now are getting pretty good advice for just life in general.
That's free
Right.
with the charge of the cost of admission.
But yeah, Jeff, one of my, I guess we call it core memories too, to use Jody's word, was the first time we went, we did the dessert party because I love fireworks and I hate people as well. I just don't like people touching me. I don't like it just creeps me out. So we did that, and Kara was, I think, 5 at the time, and she was just sitting on my shoulders and we're just watching it. And it's still one of just the best, 15 minutes of my life. Just
So
sitting
you're
there
that
with her.
dad that's sitting there with the kid on their shoulders, blocking everybody else's view.
Yes, but
Mhm.
no, because we were at the dessert party. So we were in the Tomorrowland Terrace, is where they did them then. So we weren't blocking anybody.
Not everybody's view.
Jeff,
Just the
thanks for
people that
making me
need
look
extra
like a
money to
jerk.
get a good view. He blocked
Right.
it.
Yeah, just the people that paid $90 a person to have an unobstructed view of the fireworks. Those people, they don't need to see it.
You're jerks.
They could have stood on Main Street.
For the commoners.
Like the rest of
Yeah,
the
exactly. Yeah,
rest of the peasants.
The peasants.
exactly. All right, so Carly, I know Jeff already gave us some information from your
Yeah,
family
I
about why
know.
you guys love it, but I'm sure you have a unique set of things that you love
I
about
mean,
Disney
I'm
too.
not sure it's unique, but Chris Young, I'm going to talk about his comment first. First off, he gave so much great information. You should really go to our group and read it because I'm going to have to summarize. But he hits on so many good points that I'm like, yes, 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 yes. He said, Walt Disney World represents my escape from reality. At home, I'm not that guy that feels the need to be working on a project all the time. But if I spend my vacation days just sitting around, I feel a sense of guilt that I've left work for no good reason and dread the unknown new stressor that might await my return to work. I just really need to get away or my head doesn't turn work off. So I need that escape. And then he goes on and talks about different vacations that other people take that are escape vacations and why they just don't work for him. But he says, then we have Walt Disney World. It checks off all the familiar things box for Anne, his wife, yet it's big enough that it still checks off the lots of new things to see box for me. It also offers a vacation planning challenge, which I enjoy, though to be honest, rising prices and our inability to obtain annual passes have made it more of a challenge recently. And he also talks about how it puts you in a bubble where outside life turns off for a while. You don't think about work. You don't think about news. You don't think about any of the unnecessary stuff. And he said, we will continue to go on other non-Disney trips, but we continue to be drawn to Disney World for the memories we've made and the memories we anticipate making. It would be a huge mistake if I didn't point out that those memories includes ones made with people I met specifically due to Disney. Some of my best friends have been made because of a shared Disney connection, and those friendships have really enhanced my life. And he is right on all counts. We started doing Disney, like Jeff said, because my family, when I was younger, we went to Disney occasionally. I do have some memories of Disney, and there were certain things that my dad loved at Disney that now when we go back, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, I end up doing by myself because the rest of my family thinks it sucks. But I have that moment of just like being there and connecting with my memories with my parents. But our family vacations were always beach vacations. And when Jeff and I got married, we tried that for a few years, and he's not into it. And with a little one, it was a challenge because he doesn't like sand. And I mean, I don't mind sand, but when your kid is covered in it and picking her up off the beach, you're just like, ugh. And, drowning and sharks and all the creepy stuff that happens at a beach. So it became a challenge for us to find something that checked off all of our boxes, like Chris said. And but I needed someplace where I felt like I was home away from home. I liked about the beach that we had gone there every summer, and I knew all the roads, and I knew how to get to restaurants, and I knew what restaurants were good ones to eat at. And I didn't feel like I got lost anywhere, or I didn't feel like I was unsafe anywhere. And Disney does that. Disney is that new stuff that comes out all the time, and it's new memories and it's new experiences, but at the same point, it's very familiar for me. So I feel like I know where I can go and be safe, and I know my way around, minus a little bit in Animal Kingdom because it still screws me up
Disney
sometimes,
Springs.
and Disney Springs sometimes. But it's that familiar, and it's something where we don't have to drive a whole bunch of places to do things that Jeff likes, and then drive somewhere else to do something I like, and drive somewhere else to do something Riley likes. There's something for everybody within, a walking distance that's 5 minutes. Oh, you don't like Swiss Family Robinson? Fine. Well, I don't like Space Mountain. Cool. You guys go do that. I'll go do Swiss Family, and we're good to go.
She's the only person that rope drops Swiss Family Treehouse.
I do.
So you rope drop to stand in a queue?
There we go.
It is not a queue. It's an attraction.
It is a queue.
And then I also want to bring up, like, everybody, and I know this happens to lots of Disney people, but when people say, "Oh, are you going to Disney again?" Like, why do you like to go to the same place all the time? Well, the beach is just the beach every stupid time. It's sand and water. It doesn't matter if you go East Coast, West Coast, Gulf, it's sand and it's water. And I feel like the more people pushed that, oh my gosh, really? Don't you get bored going to the same place? I'm stubborn. And the more I dug my heels in, and I was like, darn it, I love Disney, and you're all going to love Disney too. And if you don't, well, then you're just silly and there's something wrong with you. So I all of those reasons, all the reasons everybody mentioned, and everything Jeff said, and I feel like Chris hit it on the head yet again. So,
well, and Carly, you mentioned something too, and Chris, I think, did as well, but you feel at home at Disney. I mean, there's a reason at DVC resorts they say welcome home. And our family feels the same way. Like, I feel more at home at Disney than I do almost anywhere else in the world. And it's a familiarity thing. It's the way they make you feel. It's just everything. The smells. I'm a big Disney smell person.
And seeing some of the same cast members every trip. I mean, there are cast members, they don't remember us, but we remember them. And I feel like that's another, oh my gosh, I wonder if that woman is at, Hollywood Studios holding back all of the line cutters. Like, I can't wait to see her. She's always fun. So, just little things that maybe you don't get somewhere else.
Yeah, and I mean, I know my way around Disney better than I do around Detroit, and I've lived in Detroit for 40 of my 41 years. So it's just, there's something awesome about it that just makes you feel so good. All right. Does anybody else have anything else to add? Anything that you wanted to mention in your time that you just thought of, or as everybody else was mentioning stuff that you thought of?
I think our listeners hit it all, man.
Yeah, between them and the 7 of us that are on tonight, which I think, Jody, I don't know if you mentioned it after we started recording earlier, but I think this might be this first time that we've all been on the podcast together at once, which is great. So that's really fun. Yeah. And the best part about having 7 of us on is everyone's going to get to hear 7 jokes during Quacking Up with the Ducks. So, we've started our Release the Quackin' series, which I think everybody should go and check out, because if you're thinking about doing Run Disney races, or you are a runner, that gives you a lot of good training information, a lot of information about the races, and just a lot of good running and Disney discussion. But because we're getting started in marathon training, I think we're 5 weeks in, just finished the 5th week. I want to give a running joke. So what do sprinters eat before a race? Nothing. They fast.
That was funny.
Oh, it was pretty good. Yeah, I got to pat myself on the back for that one. Oh, yeah. All right, Lonnie, can you make us laugh?
I will try my best. So, what did the seal with one fin say to the shark? If seal is broken, do not consume.
That's a good, and it's relevant because when we're recording this is Shark Week,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
which is a great week. All right, Kevin, you got something funny?
Yeah, I was watching a documentary about astronauts, right? And so learning about how they operate, things like that. And in one part, they were talking about how they use their computers, and I noticed that they were using Linux as an operating system. And like, why in the world would they use such a weird operating system on their computers? And then I thought, you can't open Windows in space.
Oh man, these have all
Makes
been good
sense.
so far. All right, Gene, do you have a good joke for us tonight?
I don't. But while I was on vacation last week, I was watching some old shows, and I was watching the Flintstones. Y'all like the Flintstones, right?
Oh yeah.
I went down a rabbit hole. You know, I'm a nerd. I started doing some research, and you know, they don't watch the Flintstones in Dubai. Did you know that?
No.
But Abu Dhabi do.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I do like that one. That was a good one. All right, Jeff, Gene's got a tough one to follow.
It is.
Can, follow that one.
Well, you guys all remember last week how bad my Billy Joel joke went over. So I'm going to come back.
So bad.
I'm going to come back with another Billy Joel one to try to redeem myself.
Oh,
And
no.
Riley even giggled at this one, so we're going to take it and see how it works. So, why is Billy Joel's clothes always wet? And start the dryer.
People laughed at that one.
That was a good one.
I like
you. Oh man. All right, Carly. See if you can upstage Jeff here.
Probably not, but I do have a secret connection. My friend Angela sends me jokes all the time, so I'm totally stealing one of hers tonight. And we were talking the other day about how hungry we were, and she said she ordered some German food over the internet, which I didn't know you could do. But the sauerkraut arrived. The worst is yet to come.
Oh boy. That was a good one.
Giggle.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Jody, do you have a fun joke for us?
I do. So when do you stop at green and go on red?
I don't know.
When you're eating a watermelon. Which we had for dinner tonight, so that was a food joke because it was
And
from
I
our
love
dinner.
watermelon. Now,
Yeah,
great.
me
Now
too.
I'm hungry. All right. Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed those jokes as much as we did. And if you're still giggling, you can hit that pause button for a couple seconds, compose yourself, and then make sure you go and join the Disney with the Ducks Facebook group. Search Facebook for Disney with the Ducks, and you'll find our group out there. You can also find us on Twitter at Disney with the D1. And then we're on Instagram and YouTube and
All the
any
places.
other, MySpace. Hopefully you have us in your top 8 because, MySpace is where it's at, I think. But yeah, you can find us on any of the social media platforms, usually at Disney with the Ducks. And with that, I hope everyone has an awesome rest of your week, and Kwaharini.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Gene, Coronado is over at Universal, but they shuttle everybody back and forth.
I was going to suggest the South American Pavilion, but
It sounds South American.
Here's a good steak.
You are the center of the Oreo.
Perfect. I don't like Oreos, so
Now you're making me hungry.
All right.
I look like full-size Oreos, not the little stupid thin Oreos.
No,
Yeah.
you got to go double stuff.
Yeah, why do you even have those thin Oreos? I don't even understand them.
That's just stupid
kinda
people
like
in Cincinnati why they're passing out half an Oreo on a course.
Dude, you know what you need to do is you need to make s'moreos, which is an Oreo with s'mores, a s'more with Oreos instead of graham crackers for the ends.
That's a good idea.
That's a good
Delicious.
idea. Yeah.
Somebody sitting down saying, "How can I make this s'more even more fattening?" I know.
Yep.
That person was John.
Yeah, let's add double stuffed Oreos. It's 11-ish here. You know, you guys are in the past still.
Yeah.
If I had a DeLorean, I could go back. Well, yeah, they are in the past. They're at 9:52 p.m., right?
Yep.
Right.
I've lived an extra hour of life.
Y'all should move to Central Time. I'm telling you.
No, you know what we need to do though? We need to get on a call like during the Super Bowl. We'll tell you who wins, and then you guys place a bet. You know?
Oh, that's the way to do it.
Genius.
I can't believe nobody's thought of this before.
Inconceivable.
It's like you have a DeLorean.
Well, the problem is I work for GM, and we don't make the DeLoreans there, so it's tough.
But did I read something saying that they're coming back? Somebody's remaking DeLoreans or something.
Electric DeLorean, maybe.
I'm serious. I really read
With
that. I think last
time
week
travel capability.
I'm gonna Google it.
That's extra.
My handheld computer.
Yeah. I mean, at flux capacitor, that's a pretty significant add-on.
You can't even get a chip, let alone a flux
Yeah, I was
capacitor.
going to say that.
Right,
Yeah.
it'll probably be supply chain issues, but I mean, it'll come
Definitely.
eventually.
You can order it now, and it'll probably be here in like 2035.
Electric DeLoreans.
Yep.
According to NPR, it's coming back.
Wow, with the like wing doors, even.
I'm not sure.
Do they run on garbage?
Reimagined electric DeLorean. DeLorean Motor Company. New cars will be built in a yet unconstructed building in San Antonio.
Yet
It
unconstructed.
sounds dubious.
That's probably not getting off the ground, to be honest. That's not,
You don't want to
That's
relocate there, John, and work for them?
Literally off the ground.
no.
That sounds like it's one of those. You can put some money up front, and
Oh yeah.
we make enough money.
Give us
we'll get-
$100 to reserve your Cybertruck.
It's a Kickstarter.
He said the DeLorean it's a throwback to the future.
Nice.
back in time. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man.